Today we're going to be making a watermelon salad with feta and cucumbers and a little mint. So I've got this tiny personal sized watermelon. Now, I know it's a small watermelon, but it's a big fruit and we have to break this down. But don't be intimidated by it. You just need your chef's knife and you've got to watch this because it will try to roll around. If there's a more stable side, you may want to find where it will stop rolling so much. And you're going to cut off each end. This is really good for one of these small, what they call a personal size watermelon in the store. But if you get a great big one at a farmer's market or from your garden or from a neighbor, you may have to cut it in half to get to this point. So now you have a nice stable side and I can see the rind very clearly. So I'm going to place my knife where the rind starts and follow the curve of this melon all the way down. We may have to cut 2 times to get the little curve. There we go. And you just follow that around. So once you get that first cut in there, it's easier to get the curve. We'll go this way. So you don't want any of the rind on your watermelon. So I'm trying to cut down where all I see is the red. We have a red one here today, but of course there are several different varieties of watermelon. And if you don't get a completely clean arc, don't worry about that. We can clean that up later. So we'll just flip it over and get this little bit of rind off here and here. And you can, if you wanted to, do the same with any kind of melon that you are finding here in the height of summer. Even cantaloupe and honeydew, you can go ahead and take the peel off and then cut it in half and scoop the seeds out. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about that. Now we can cut this watermelon into big slices because we want about 1-inch cubes for the watermelon. If it gets too wobbly on you over here, just drop it like that and we'll cut slices off that. I'm going to stack my slices. If you're not comfortable with that, then just cut everything 1 slice at a time. And I've lost my alignment here, but we can still cut strips, big, thick, 1-inch strips that we turn on the side, and then we cut about 1 inch again so that we get fairly regular cube shapes, something about bite size. Now if you want to do, rather than a salad in a bowl, a composed salad on a plate, you may want to play around with your shapes. You might want to cut out triangles or something like that, but for just going into the bowl, we're going to cut 1-inch cubes. This watermelon is certainly smelling good. All right, so let's continue breaking that down. You want at least 3 cups of watermelon for the ingredients that we have today. I'm gonna eye this a little bit. I think that's even a little bit more. So we'll stop there. And we'll start on our cucumbers. We need about 1.5 cups of cucumbers. And I want to show you something. These are full size. If you find those little tiny pickling cucumbers or the tiny baby cukes that they have in all of the grocery stores now, you wouldn't have to peel them. Now that it's getting into the hot part of the season, one, you want to taste your cucumber, make sure it's not bitter. That's still a nice sweet one. The bitterness is in the peel. So if it were bitter, this one, the skin is a little bit thick. So we're going to take off part of that. I just have a regular peeler. I do want a little bit of the dark green in the salad, so I'm taking off a strip and making stripes. And you can find nifty little vegetable peelers and cutters and things like that, little sets, but it's just as easy to use a regular vegetable peeler. And take off just a little bit of that peel so that it's not tough when you bite into those slices. Now we have plenty of water in this salad, so I don't want to add too much to it. So we're going to take out the seeds of the cucumber. They add a lot of water, and we don't want to water down our vinaigrette on this salad. So we're going to take a spoon and just scrape that seed pod out. It's a very watery seed pod, so we just scrape it out with a spoon. And this is something that someone can do if you don't want them to cut or use a knife. This is a great job for them to do, to take part in making this salad. And then all you do, once you have your seeds out and your stripes cut, is slice. And I'm slicing a little thicker, about 3/8 to 1/2 inch, because I want the cucumbers to be able to compete visually with all of the watermelon. So we're just slicing straight across and making little half moons. And that trick on the cucumber seeds is great for anything you want to add cucumbers to. You can also hollow out big chunks of cucumber and make little cups to put salads into. It's always fun to play around with them at the height of summer when you don't want to cook. Okay, that is more than 1.5 cups, so we'll add that in. And then we will make a vinaigrette with just a little lime juice and a little olive oil. So I've got my olive oil already measured here. I'm just going to squeeze the lime juice from this fresh lime. So I'm gonna roll it a bit and cut it in half. Now I have this juicer. You could use just a squeeze of your hand. You could use a fork to ream your lime, or if you have one of those juice reamers for fresh squeezed orange juice, you could use that. I need about, actually I'm gonna double this recipe. So I'm gonna do about 2 tablespoons lime juice. And this is about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna add to that so that we have about 6. So 1-to-3 ratio is pretty much standard on any vinaigrette. So I can make, this is a very temporary emulsion on this vinaigrette. This isn't like one where you add garlic and mustard and all of that. So it's not gonna stay together very long. So we're gonna whisk this up and then dump it on our salad. We're gonna add some salt. Who is a big lover of putting salt on watermelon? It's the way I grew up eating it. And we're gonna give that just a little taste. Maybe just a tad more salt. And I think I want a little more lime juice in there. So sometimes you have to fool around with your formula to make it taste like you want to. I want lots of acid with all this sweet watermelon. And we are not going to just dump this into our salad. We're going to take a spoon and drizzle over. We want to coat everything in the bowl, but not drown it, not leave a pool of dressing in the bottom. Give it a toss, as it is now. And a little surprise ingredient, we have fresh mint leaves. And we're just gonna pull these off. You can sort of, with a really thick stemmed herb, you can just hold the stem and just strip it. Usually this is how you can do thyme, sometimes sage. And I'm not even gonna chop these. I'm just gonna tear these up with my hands into smaller pieces. We'll get that fresh mint. Now mint in its herb form is not like mint flavoring. So this isn't like adding toothpaste to a recipe. It's herbier, it's greener, and it's just bright and refreshing. So tear those up, add that in. And we have just a little bit of crumbled feta cheese. This is a very salty cheese, and this will be, again, more of a nice Contrast to all these sweet elements. And as a final part, one more sprinkle of salt. And we'll put this in our salad bowl. And that gives you lovely contrast and a bright, fresh flavor that keeps you out of the kitchen this summer. There you go, watermelon salad.